While we're talking about schools, though, the explosion in staffing in schools, and I don't actually mean the teachers, I mean the staffing across the education sector, excluding teachers, has gone through the roof. I think you'd be surprised to hear just how bad it has become. There's a mob called Save Our Schools. They're a lobby group, and they have crunched the numbers for us, thank heavens, and they've turned the numbers over to the News Corp papers, and this has been published in the News Corp papers today, and they found that in the decade between 2015 and 2024, non-school bureaucrats, so that's people not working in the schools, grew by 89% compared to 47% for non-teaching staff in schools, teachers' aides and librarians and that sort of stuff, 16% for teachers and 7% for students. So you've had 7% growth in students, 16% growth in teachers, and 89% growth in bureaucrats. It would seem there is a problem. And it is even worse when you go into the subset of bureaucrats, that is executives. And these are the people, of course, being paid the most money. The highest education executive, who's the head of the education department, the secretary of the education department federally, he's on more than $1 million a year, of course. You can see him there on the screen. He's raking it in. But when it comes to executives in education departments, and this is federal and state, it's gone from 365 10 years ago, 2015, to 1,331 in 2024, more than double the number of executives we had 10 years ago, when in that period, students have grown by 7%. How do you justify more than doubling the number of executives who are on big salaries when you haven't had an equal number of students entering the system? We spend, and these numbers, the newest I could find was from the 22-23 financial year, but across federally and state-wise, we spend $86 billion on schools. How much of that money is being sucked up by bureaucrats sitting in offices who are delivering seemingly diminishing returns because our results are not getting any better, their numbers are increasing, results are going backwards, the number of students isn't real. I cannot make sense of it.
Well, you ask how you justify it. You justify it with an increasing number of policies and more and more
about
layers.
The bullying.
Exactly.
They need the bully model.
You've got to have someone to push the paper and increasing regulation, which schools are very laden with. I can understand an increase in IT staff these days because the amount of IT required for school is just increasing astronomically. I can understand an increase in the number of support staff for teachers because teaching is increasingly a very difficult job, behavioural issues, so on and so forth. But an increase in bureaucrats makes no sense at all, especially as when Caleb said education outcomes seem to be going backwards. But that's the case right across the country at the moment. You have top-heavy bureaucracies that are underperforming as results increasingly are minimised, infrequent and substandard.
Yeah, and it's not even as though they're taking workload off teachers. Teachers in Australia are still doing on average 6 hours of admin, of paperwork every week. That's a full school day worth of admin. It's the 4th highest in the OECD. So teachers are still being overworked. They're still stressed. Yet you've got all these bureaucrats. You really have to ask, what are they actually doing? And the other problem is that it sucks good teachers out of the classroom. Because if you want career advancement and a pay increase, well, you're not going to get that in the highly unionised teaching field. Your only option is to go into the Department of Education and work your way up through the bureaucracy. So it's kind of a double whammy where you're paying these people to do really who knows what, but you're also losing some of your best teachers to the bureaucracies.
And you look at the wage growth as well. The wage growth for teachers in that decade period has been about 48%, which is a bit above inflation. So they have had real wage growth. But the wage growth for the bureaucrats, the non-teaching staff, has been 80%. So again, the discrepancy is so stark that you have to say the only way to fix this system is to blow the entire thing up and start again.